Hey guys, welcome back to the biggest agricultural platform in Namibia known as Duna Wengombe, which means headman of cattle. My name, of course, is Mitso Mutumba Simata, aka the headman of cattle. I'm just keeping an eye on my mic there to make sure that it's on because this is the third video that I'm shooting on a serious note. So today, on the 5th of January, I just want to talk about consequence management and Milo's hierarchy in agriculture. Why farmers need to practice this. So yesterday, as I'm relaxing, just took a shower, cleaned the house, just sitting around doing nothing. You know, my friend calls me. He's like, Mitch. I'm like, yeah, what's up? He's like, man, oh, I'm sweating, bro. He's like, what? I'm like, oh, what's going on, man? What's going on? What's happening? Did you make someone's daughter pregnant that you're not telling me about? He's like, Mitchell, you got jokes. Stop it with your stupid jokes. I am sweating because the rain's not coming. It hasn't rained. I haven't even gotten a drop of rain this entire time on my farm. I'm like, oh, how so? He's like, nah, man, it's just been windy, clouds coming and the wind blows them away. I'm like, yo, so what's plan two? He's like, bro, I'm sweating and I need to pay the people, my customers, the people that buy my produces. They're waiting. They're gonna come knocking and they're not gonna be happy with me. So I'm like, but hold on, man. You called me a couple of days. I mean, you called me last year and you told me you sold a lot of produce and you got about 800,000 Namibian. What did you do with the money? He's like, oh man, I bought myself a brand new Bucky. I bought myself the latest Isuzu Bucky. I'm like, you bought a new car, but what was wrong with the old car? He's like, nah, man, the old car, there was nothing wrong with it. I just needed something new. I needed a car with Apple CarPlay, Google CarPlay, SatNav, and all this nice creature comforts. I'm like, but the old Bucky was still okay. It didn't have Apple CarPlay, it had Bluetooth, but it could still get you from point A to point B, and would it still allow you to load your produces and to get them to your buyers and your business partners. What made you decide to buy that? He's like, Mitchell, please, man, don't start. I just made a decision. I needed a new Bucky. Like, okay, how much do you still have left? He's like, bro, I don't have anything right now. This is why I'm calling you to let you know. I'm like, shit, man. You screwed. You screwed. Because you probably signed contracts and agreements with your suppliers, the shops that buy your produces from you. You signed agreements with them that you're always going to supply them X amount of fresh produce. And now you can't. You screwed. You should have, I told him, this is what I said. I said, you screwed. You should have taken from that money. You should have, before you bought your Bucky, probably invested in a drip irrigation. I'm not saying buy the most sophisticated drip irrigation all around. I'm saying even if you bought the most simplest and the cheapest one, even if it's just the sprinkler you place in the ground with pipes and it's busy spraying water left, right, and center on your produces, as long as your produce are getting water. Because right now you're screwed. It's not raining. You can't start plowing because you're waiting for the rain. What if the rain doesn't come now and it only starts raining in May and April? What then? Are you gonna be able to meet your client's needs and demands? He's like, yo, Mitch, I didn't call for you to shit on me. I'm like, I'm sorry, bro, but I need to shit on you right now. You should have practiced consequence management. What would be the consequence of this decision that I'm taking to buy a Bucky rather than investing in a drip irrigation? You should have done that. You should have played the Manslow or the hierarchy, the hierarchy game. What's a need and what's a want? A want is a new Bucky. What's a need? You need a drip irrigation. That's what you should have done. Because now you're going to be in trouble. You're going to have customers or business partners that are not going to be happy with you. God forbid the rains don't come. You might find yourself going to court, having to call lawyers and having to fork out more money for lawyers to represent you. You screwed. Learn, and I told him, learn to practice consequence management. He said, yeah, Mitch, you always think you're something special. You think you're an angel. I'm like, bro, I've heard this even in my own family telling me I think I'm something special. I think I'm an angel. I told him not that. I just look at the consequence. What's the consequence of action of this action that I'm going to take? Action A. What's going to be the outcome of this? There's going to be a consequence. It's like me taking a decision. Forgive me for saying this, but it's like me taking a decision to sleep with a woman without wearing any protection, and I don't even know her first name. Chances are she's going to fall pregnant. Or if not, let's say, God forbid, she's sick. Chances are I'm going to get sick too because I was reckless. So there's always an equal reaction. Huh? They say there's an equal reaction. For one action, there's an equal reaction. You have to be prepared for your consequence. I told him, dude, I don't know. You might have to sell that Bucky. Get some money. I don't think you're going to get your entire 600,000 back or whatever you paid for it. But whatever you get that and actually start plowing. Buy a bucky when you are comfortable. Don't buy it now. If the old bucky can still get you from point A to point B and it's still doing a good job, you've serviced it, no mechanical, no electronic damage. Do what you have. Do that first. Take care of that before you run to go buy a brand new bucky to show off to your family and your friends. Because look, where are your friends, where are your family, where are the girls you're probably driving around with in that bucky? They're nowhere to be seen. You are screwed. He hung up the call. He said, "I'll wear sharp." He hung up the call. He was quite pissed. Then I get another call. And this one's from a relative of mine. He sends me a WhatsApp message. "Yo, Neff, how you doing?" I'm like, "No, I'm great, man. How are you?" I'm living, man. Compliments for the year. Like compliments for the year. I need your help. Let me send you something. He sends me a picture of a bull. That bull looks like the dogs from 101 Dalmatians. It's brown with so much spots and blisters on its skin. He asks me what could be the problem. I'm like, "Unc, it looks like your animal could be suffering from lumpy skin disease. Did you do the inoculation?" He's like, "Nah, bro, I didn't even know about the inoculation. I'm currently on holiday." I'm like, "Unc, you need to get back to your farm as soon as possible because chances are you're going to have a lumpy skin outbreak within your crop. So you need to get there. You need to go inoculate this bull. Chances are it might not survive. It might die. The next thing you need to do is inoculate all the cows in the kraal because chances are this bull has already infected all the cows in the kraal it sleeps with, in the kraal it stays with, because these animals sleep in one pen, graze in the same areas, drink from the same water point. Chances are it has made everybody sick. So you need to get back." He's like, "Okay, now I'm going to try to get back." I'm like, "No, Unc, you can't try. You have to get back. It's not up for negotiation. It's a must. You need to get back as soon as possible. You should have even gotten back to the farmers in yesterday." He's like, "Okay, cool, I'm going to get there." I'm asking him, "Unc, why did you let it get this bad? Why did you not reach out to me beforehand when you started seeing the blisters developing? Or why did you not talk to my dad who's closer to you, who could have advised you?" He's like, Man, I just tried to do farming like my dad used to do." I'm like, "Look, when my granddad farmed, there were probably not, these diseases were not common. But now in this day and time, in the modernized time, these diseases are very common. So you need to do what's important." He's like, "No, I'm going to do that." He's like, "No, first he goes like, I'm going to call somebody to check how much the medicine costs." I'm like, "Unc, you can't call anybody and be like, how much does the medication cost? If he tells you the medication costs 800 Namibian, I'm going to say I'm not buying it." You have to do it because you're a farmer. In agriculture, my mentor always tell me, no expense is spared. You're going to pay what you have to pay. No one is going to play with you. If you are going to say, I'm getting into the horticulture, I'm getting into the livestock, whether large or small scale, whether large stock or small stock, you need to invest. If you are going to say, I have to pay X amount to my farming projects, or I have to inoculate my animals in the vaccination, one bottle costs about 500 Namibian. So two of them are probably going to cost 1.5. You just have to spend. You can't sit here and be like, I'm trying to cut corners. Because if you do that, your agricultural projects are not going to go far. If you are doing livestock, your animals are going to get sick and they're going to die. And then you're going to lose money. It takes me back to what my mentor also once said to me, where he said, agriculture, particularly livestock farming, any form of it, it's like being married. If you treat your wife well, if you love your wife, if you treat her well, if you try and keep her happy, you'll be a happy husband. Same thing with agriculture. If you maintain your livestock, if you maintain your plants, you will be a happy farmer because you'll always get good returns. But if you try to cut corners and not do what's required, you are going to be an unhappy farmer. You're going to be crying and be like, "Hey, man, this thing is actually difficult because you're not doing what's required of you." So do what's required. I told my uncle, "Nah, man, don't spare any expenses, go inoculate this animal. If you inoculated it today, and this animal survives today, survives tomorrow, and survives Saturday, it's going to be fine. But if you inoculate it today, and today's Thursday, Friday, it's looking terrible. By Saturday, it's bad. And Sunday, it's probably dead. You're going to probably have to bury it because you can't eat that meat. There's no way you can consume meat that looks like that." So he's like, "No, I'm going to do that, my young man. I'm going to start consulting." I'm like, "Yeah, you got to consult me, and I'm going to be sending you consultation fees. But you need to do what is required, colleagues. If you don't have it in you to do goat farming, but your dad was a goat farmer, maybe your brother is better at it. Why don't you try and partner with him? If your sister is better at it, why don't you partner with her? Why try and go do something that you're not good at? And then you end up getting your hands burned. Because like I said, consequence management. You need to know what are going to be the consequences of my action. If I don't inoculate my animals, what are going to be the outcome? What is going to be the outcome of this? My animals are going to get sick and they're going to die. And then I'm probably going to be the epicenter of most disease outbreaks in my area. So you need to know that if you are farming, particularly with livestock, even horticulture, and there's a disease outbreak in your field, chances are that disease can spread to the next person's field. If you're farming livestock, there's a disease outbreak in your livestock, chances are that illness can also spread out to your neighbor's livestock. So always deploy consequence management and do what you have to do. Stop trying to cut costs. Stop trying to look fancy. Don't go buy an Amarok when your cattle are not when your cattle aren't inoculated. Don't go buy a brand new tractor if you didn't even do the first thing of making sure that you bought enough fertilizer and there's enough rain. This is what I'm saying. Consequence management. Take into consideration what's going to be the action, what's going to be the reaction of this action that I took. What am I expecting in return? Is it going to be positive or negative? Those are things that people need to look after or look at. With that said, ladies and gentlemen, I just want to say, have yourself a good Thursday. Bye for now.